Good morning, everyone. My name is RykonGamingAU. I am very much have the privilege of being joined by my co-commentator, who I'll let them introduce themselves right now.
My name's Conical Flack. Very glad to be here tonight.
And of course, my other co-commentator, my son's stuffed toy that he gave me for good luck. That's his Chicky Rita. So, this is Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor. The very first thing we have to do just for run verifications in our game is I do actually have to show that we are using an empty game slot. That is important. Usually we'd also delete the save, but since there's an empty game slot there, I'll just use that. Okay, I think everything is ready to go, so I guess I will do the countdown from here. We'll get going in 3, 2, 1, go. And the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to travel back in time into a memory and relive how to fight. And this is basically a training scenario that we have to go through where we get to beat up a small child. And essentially right now we're just blocking until he says don't forget to hit, and then we just smack him around 10 times, and that is the tutorial done. So really simple tutorial for the game. We want to push him against a wall if possible there, and then we're immediately going to fast forward in time, and now we're on a bridge fighting orcs. So that first orc always dies to a ground execute. We've got 5 attacks here. That will take that orc out, and then we're just going to basically spawn camp like any good gamer. So here, I'm going to go for just a ground execute again. That is our fastest way to deal with the orcs in the most case. Dilheim should finish that one off now. But I am going to try a glitch here. We'll see how it goes. It's not always consistent. No, didn't get it there, unfortunately. We can actually kill these orcs in one hit if we throw them into a certain bit of terrain, but it is quite difficult to perform, so that's okay. And again, whenever possible, we're just going to go for ground executes. However, I can't actually do a ground attack at all while Dilheim is attacking because he will interrupt the animation. One more orc left to go. Where are you? There you are. And he's down. And now my absolute favourite part of the run. So here we get the stealth tutorial, and what better way to learn how to stealth murder orcs than to sneak up on our wife and give her a stealth kiss. Absolutely one of the best parts of the game, and in my head, in canon, that's all Tally knows how to do, and he stealth kisses all the orcs to death instead of actually stealth murdering them. So this is our stealth tutorial section again. We've fast forwarded back to present day, and we're just going to run at the orcs, and at the very last second press stealth and then just stealth kill them. Here we can technically roll, but most of the time it's faster just to run up and just stealth kill this guy.
Stealth kiss the guy.
Stealth kiss, of course. And that is a tutorial done, and we died. So essentially the story, I'm going to give a very, very brief overview of the story because honestly it's very complex, and without cutscenes it doesn't make a lot of sense. We died. A random ghost that we don't know the name of, that's totally not Celebrimbor, managed to hold us on to life to take vengeance. So we are going to grab this fast travel point here, and we are actually going to almost get in the run. We've got one more tutorial to go. Well, technically 2, but they're kind of in one section together. Alright, so this is the bow tutorial, and this is going to be our first and main use of a glitch that we use. So I want everyone to watch how fast the bow takes to draw on this first orc attack. So drawing, done. Now I'm going to swing my sword and do some fancy things on the keyboard, and we have instant bow shots. So very, very useful glitch for the run. We'll be using that so many times. And that is called the machine gun bow. And very useful. So here, we're going to grab this guy. We're going to hold the control button, and we're going to interrogate him for information. Essentially, we can interrogate orcs for information and basically drill into their head and find out information. Those orcs that have the information are called worms, and they're going to be very integral to the run. Now, one thing I would like to note right now is that as a community, we made a decision about, I'd say 6 months ago, to allow the DLC runes to be run. The reason why is because the only people who were essentially using the runes were new runners who were very confused why they couldn't use certain runes, and it's never clear what is and what isn't a DLC rune without going into the menu and turning it off. So we made the decision to allow them, and at first there was basically no issue with it. However, the last sort of 3 weeks, we've figured out there's some pretty big skips we can go. Okay, I'm looking for a spider. Killing that spider. I'm not just doing that, I promise, because we're Australian. It actually has a purpose behind it. As you can see, the hunting challenge has popped up. 2 or 3. Well, apparently we've already killed 2 spiders. That's interesting. I must have run over one without noticing. We need to kill 3 of those by a certain point in the mission. It's very easy to do, but that's fine. Oh, 1 too many escape presses. That's okay. And here we're going to get a tutorial on Elven Sight. And we're able to sort of... Elven Sight is able to see. Now, one thing I haven't mentioned yet is RNG. And I have got my lovely co-commentator here keeping an eye on how many times I say the word RNG, because you're going to hear that a lot in this run.
That's 2.
That's 2. Excellent. And for every time I say RNG, I'm going to be donating $1 to this game. So,
That's 3.
Fantastic. So, we managed to get our stealth attack on this Orc Captain. These are the sort of the main bosses of the game, and we're able to take him down really quickly. This first one is an absolute pushover. It's not even worth game. Thank you. Not even worth mentioning. Now, I have to be careful here to not spam the controls, because I can completely soft lock the game here. This is the only soft lock I've found, and it's dependent on how fast you spam your controls. Okay, cool. Mission done. So, time to get an upgrade. So, we're going to grab Elven Swiftness here, and rather than explain what it does, I will just show you. Anytime we sort of jump up and down on an object, we can get a very small temporary speed boost. So, one thing in Mordor that happens a lot is that routing is really, really routed around a lot of these small little vulnerable objects, because that's the only way we can gain speed in the early game. So right now, we've just found some weird tracks. They kind of look like a beast, but not a human. Kind of in between. Kind of hobbitsy, but don't really know what it is. We're going to track it down, see what it is. And we will just be vaulting over a few more little vaults, and then we'll be heading to the next objective. And again, these sort of first early missions are very tutorial based. Here we're going to try to roll into a cutscene trigger, just to get a little boost. And, got to track down this weird looking hobbit. Alright, so here we should be able to find our final spider. There we go. That's important for later, because spiders can be traded for goods and services, or money in this case. And now here's our first Caragor fight. Blink and you miss it. That Caragor always spawns with 1 HP, so we can just sort of kill it straight away. And again, we roll into a cutscene trigger. And here I'm trying to beat some conversation. Do I get 3? I think I got 3. I did get 3. That's actually quite difficult to do, so I'm glad I got 3 there. Okay. Come on. Wow, that went really, really well. That fight actually surprised me even. Normally I have all sorts of issue when that Caragor decides to come up and touch me. But we have done the second mission, and we are going to be fast traveling. You're going to see us doing that a lot during missions, in between each missions, as it's just really, Mordor has a very slow sort of travel speed, so fast traveling is very, very useful. So we have probably about 30-40 seconds here where I'm going to be just sort of running towards the next objective. So if we have any donations, now would be a great time, or any questions.
Yep, so a couple of donations that have come in. There was one just during the previous run. It was $2 from Monk1322, which said, "You better save Kong Profit, do it for the king, boys." And that did occur, so very good. And then there was $5 from Casimir0325. Thank you very much for that donation.
Thanks, Casimir. That's someone who is a frequenter of my stream and loves the Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War series. Okay, so here, this is very common as well. Sort of in between missions, or even during missions, we're going to be climbing these sort of fast travel locations, and we've got to unlock them with our hammer. Even though we have no idea, and we don't actually have access to the hammer yet, but we somehow have access to the hammer. Story is very weird in this game, but that's okay. And Celebrimbor doesn't even know he's Celebrimbor yet, or that he is a ringmaker. So No idea why he just walks up to towers and smacks them with a hammer, but, you know, whatever. So again, it's just a tiny bit of routing here, and again, we'll be looking to jump over these small little walls, up these small little cliffs. You'll see this a lot, and I sort of won't be explaining it after this point. But here is our new BFF. This is Ratbag. As you can guess, he is a worm, and so he will give us information. And this is sort of our tutorial on weaknesses, which we really need to work on in the game. Now, one thing that I do personally, just waiting for... There we go. I have routed picking up these flowers into the run. It doesn't lose you any time, and it doesn't save you any time, and it's completely pointless, but I like picking up flowers, so you're going to see me go for every flower I can. But that money that we had before, we're actually going to now spend that to grab extra shots in our quiver. So that is really important for this fight coming up and for the next few fights. Our bow is by far our largest DPS tool in this game. And especially with the machine gun bow, we can do ridiculous damage when we shouldn't be able to. Now I'm going to try some RNG manipulation here. The way I sort of move when this next bit happens will allow us to hopefully get a spawn directly over here of the shield bearer. So I can't actually fight here until the shield bearer talks to me. Excellent. Got him in the right location. Very, very, very good. And until this pop-up comes up, I can't actually fight. Strange mechanic of the game. Oh, where are you? Come on, Orcs.
Leave the vermin alone and face me, Uruks.
We're going to have to do this the old way, but that's okay. So I'm going to drain this guy, just get the arrows. And then I'm going to go for a stealth kill.
Well done, Ranger.
And now we're going to push our new BFF around. Come on. So we're just basically pushing him towards his next area. And now you may have seen before I took my hands off the controls to explain a bit better. This game has a lot of escort missions. Thankfully, they built in an auto walk feature. If you get close to an NPC who's monologuing, they'll automatically walk with you. Now, I mentioned the machine gun bow before and how it sort of works. So the way it sort of works is, imagine the camera is facing north up here. We want to hold directly away from the camera and at a 45-degree angle from Talion himself, whichever way he's facing, because Talion doesn't always face the camera, so it's a little bit weird and technical, but if Talion's facing in the bottom left, then we want to sort of focus on the bottom right. Okay. So let's take this guy out. Apologise about that missed shot, but that's okay. Alright, so this is a little bit of a routing change that I did recently. We just climbed this little banner up to the left. Game, where are we going? Apparently up here. And climbing this section allows you to get up here quicker because this bit of wall's dead. And then we can also, instead of normally shooting this archer, we can just give him the old punch. Nope, game. Apparently the game is being really mean to me today. There we go. Give him the old punch and knock him off the wall. And these are one of the very few non-skippable cutscenes. I don't know why these few ones aren't skippable, but hey, that's that.
By the hunting camp.
Goroth's in the hunting camp. So much for him.
So the idea behind this mission is to teach you about captain's weaknesses. So a really good, this is a really good example. We're going to have to abuse these captain weaknesses. Captains are extremely strong in this game. They can 1 to 2 shot you. They can do a ton of damage. They can call in a ton of orcs, and we have no AoE to deal with them. It can get very overwhelming very quickly. Thankfully, a lot of captains have weaknesses, and if you've been listening to the dialogue at all, Goroth is deathly afraid of his beast. So what we're going to do here, it's going to move fast. I'm going to shoot that. As soon as Goroth stumbles back, I'm going to execute him, grab him, and because he's feared, I can instantly snap his neck. So there's his neck snapped, and he's dead. That only works because he's afraid of the beast, and we unleash the beast that was sitting right next to him. And now Ratbag, as is Orc tradition, he killed Goroth, and he's moving up the chain of command. Again, fast travelling to the next location, and a very, very thankfully short walk
must use
to
the weapons of our enemy against him.
next fight.
The orcs hate each other almost as much as they hate us.
So, story-wise, what happens is Ratbag gets captured because no one believes that he actually managed to take down a captain, and we have to go save him because we need him to show us where the how to get to the war chief. So there used to be a really cool strat we did here where we picked off individual archers and did all this fancy stuff, but thanks to the machine gun bow, it's just quicker and easier just to do this now and get them to run straight here. And that's a good example of a captain opening line. We're going to see those a lot. They are, for the most part, that one is normalized, but for the most part, they're RNG again. So, and while we're fighting this guy, we're quickly going to grab these upgrades that we need. I will explain what they do in a moment. We'll see the first one in a moment. We're going to build our counter to 8. When it's 8, it starts flashing, and that allows us to press F to execute a captain and do huge damage.
Keep the executioner alive.
So now we're going to interrogate this executioner so that we get information on the war chief. Again, sticking to that principle of interrogating orcs to find out about other orcs. In this case, his brother. And then we're going to have no more use for him, so we're just going to snap his neck. Brilliant. Okay, and we've got one more tutorial left before we're sort of in the more free roam part of the game.
Led us up the chain of command in spite of himself.
He has a gift for failure.
So this is the last of the tutorials. Oh, good RNG. Look at that. That is fantastic. So, the problem with this game is that we require multiple of these worms here that you can see that I'm interrogating now, because we can't actually spawn these war chiefs on the map until we know where they are. On top of that, to explain how this game sort of works, we need to find a worm, which is RNG. We need to interrogate the worm, who will give us a random mission, which again, the mission can be really short or really long. That's RNG. And then on top of that, what the weaknesses and strengths of the war chiefs have is also RNG. So it's three layers, and it gets very, very complex. But thankfully, we sort of have ways to deal with that. In this instance, this mission is always the same because it's a tutorial mission. There is never a worm here. That is the first time I've ever seen that happen. That's fantastic. Because we can, again, just get more information. We're going to need this later in the run. And we're going to pick this guy today. Okay. Didn't show me what mission type that was, but that's okay. And, oh, did not get the glitch there. That's okay. Alright, so this is Mog. He's our first war chief. He's meant to be very hard, however, because we're so used to fighting him and we have the area, we know exactly what area he's going to spawn, what he's going to do. Most of the time we have a pretty good time against this boss. So give him an old punch, go for the Wraith combo. We're going to ground execute him, jump over him, give him the old regular execute, pull out our bow, immediately blow up this barrel, and then as long as we're not standing too close to him, we can just shoot him in the head, and that's that. Really, really nicely sort of solved fight. And now we're into sort of the free flow of this run. There are no specific missions we're doing in order. It's more about being opportunistic right now. Now here we're going to pray one more time to RNGesus. That can count, by the way, if you want to. Yes, okay, so this spawn here is fairly common, but it's not guaranteed. And this is actually the last, so I can't tell you Squealer is an okay mission. I can't tell you how actually relieved I am, because, to be honest, this was the scariest part. I've had multiple practice runs in the last 3 days where I haven't been able to find a single worm by this time, and we have all the worms we need. So since there's no good missions around close to us, I'm going to start the next part of the Golem chain. When you do this mission, it's sort of completely optional, but we're going to do it now. So what we're going to do here is we're going to get seen by these orcs on the left, completely miss that thanks to my hand tremors. Shoot this down. That will scare off the orcs because orcs hate flies. And then we're going to... Come on. Come on. Come on. Thank you. There you go. There we go. So, I don't think I've mentioned this before, but I do have tremors in my right hand, which is why you'll see the bow shaking a lot. Thankfully, there's not too much archery outside of 1 point, and it's also a legal requirement here in the game that you must sing along with Gollum.
I think I'll leave that one to you.
Here's some more flowers we can quickly pick while we're waiting for Gollum to move. And we actually got the good RNG, but the bad song. To shows us the way, bright master will guide us, will help us. Alright. So the reason why I said that was the good version is because that song ends there. There's another song that ends much later, and we actually have to sit here and wait for Gollum. Now I'm going to get my phone out. This is...
Wait, does it actually save time getting the shorter song?
Yes, it does.
Nice.
By 2 seconds. It's really strange, and we have no control over it. So I'm going to start a timer here.
Ghouls!
Okay, as soon as he says ghouls, we start a timer. Because these ghouls are all on a time life, essentially. If we go and murder them right now, they will instantly respawn for 1 minute. Technically 1 minute and 6 seconds, because we're actually going to, while we're waiting and not doing much here, we're going to grab another fast travel point. Now, if you're absolutely going for world record, you don't grab this fast travel point. You just pray that you don't get missions over here. But because it's a marathon, safety's sake, we're definitely going to grab that. So we have a good 30 seconds here. If you've got any questions about the run, now's a good time.
No, you're doing a great job of explaining everything.
Okay, so one thing I will do here, and this is absolutely vital to the run, it is not totally me just being silly, we call this butt wiggle.
Best strat in the run.
Best strat in the run. So we're just going to wiggle back and forth here. And what this will do, this will actually keep the ghouls in place. As silly as it sounds, the ghouls have no path to me right now. They don't know how to get to me. And so butt wiggling like that just keeps them in place. They slowly spread out over time. And there's our 1 minute and 6 seconds. And one more should do it. Where are you there? Okay, and that's the mission done. So, absolutely silly strat, but absolutely the best way for us to keep the ghouls in place.
He has no love for the Dark Lord. That creature has a part to play in the fate of all Middle-earth. I can feel it.
And since we've done the first Golem mission, we may as well continue on and do the next Golem mission. That Golem mission, each Golem mission does give you an unlock. That first one gives us one that we'll barely use in the run. It may be used, it will be used once, and if we get bad RNG, it'll be used a few more times. Okay. But essentially for now, we're going to, thank you. We're going to quickly level up here. And actually, I'm not going to take that. I'm going to take that. Thank you. We're going to go into our runes here, and we're going to unlock a slot on our dagger and a slot on our bow. Now, we talked about the DLC runes before being pretty strong. Here is the rune that we underestimated completely. This rune does not actually say that much. It just says, your brutalized attacks cause extra terror. And that is our brutalized talent there, so we've taken it. And that doesn't sound like that much, but it actually becomes a huge part in the second half of the run. And it doesn't save us a huge amount of time, but it does save us a lot of RNG. Now, everyone's heard of the 360 no-scope. Here is the 45 with scope.
Oh, how do you do that so consistently? It's amazing.
So, for your reference, and everyone else out there, when I first started running this game, I was utterly frustrated with that technique. I could not figure it out. All the runners were so accurate with that quick scope movement, and I just could not figure it out. I literally spent like an hour replaying this mission and trying to figure out how to do that. Turns out, if you just hold the right mouse button and don't move your mouse at all, the game auto-aims there.
And now is ready for another.
So I spent a very, very long time trying to figure out a trick that no one could explain to me because
built-in aimbot.
We had a built-in aimbot, of course. Yep. Fantastic. Alright, and here is the one part of the run that I don't think you should do unless you have carpal tunnel. This is roll strats. Unless you're rolling for 7 consecutive rolls, it's not worth it. It saves you around 0.02 of a second there, and it gives you an incredible amount of carpal tunnel because you need to be frame perfect with those rolls, otherwise it's a time loss. But we now have the best movement ability in the game. We can, for 2 arrows, instantly teleport to any target we want, and You'll see that come into play a lot during the run because, obviously, it's a great movement ability. It's why we usually do the Golem missions first, but some missions don't need this ability. So, hence why it's RNG. Here we're going to roll, pick up these arrows, go here, and then we're going to teleport directly into the cutscene. And 1, 2, 3.
I grasp at Vesper's
Perfect.
rings of
And here is the hardest new strat in this game. It is stupid and it is annoying. See these little cliff hops that I'm doing? This is actually insanely accurate to do. It is very... It seems so easy, but it is stupidly hard, and most of the time you'll end up yeeting yourself off the cliff, which loses time. But if you do that, it saves around 1.5 seconds.
To discover the secrets of the blasting
Okay, so now we're into Hiragon's missions. Hiragon is part of the Outcasts. They are the group that are basically left over from the Black Gate getting destroyed. And here is the newest glitch I found in the game. It saves absolutely no time. It is absolutely stupid and very, very hard to do. But if I do it right, I should start ascending into the sky. There we go.
What?
Grog.
Okay, lost it. You can actually climb Hiragon's model. I don't know why, but Hiragon has this strange shaped model that no one else does, and we can climb him by running up on his backside. Pointless, does nothing, but hey, if we're waiting for Hiragon. Now, I used to pick up this flower, but unfortunately I did time it out and I lose about half a second by picking up that flower, so we have to skip it. You know, press F in the chat for the flower, but...
Your wife will be very disappointed.
She will be.
For your sake, she is here gone.
Alright, so here, I just did a no-no, I cut Hiragon off. Okay. Thankfully I can change my DPI on my mouse to make that easier. Here we're collecting a bunch of poison herbs. Now, one thing to note about Hiragon is he is extremely slow to maneuver. So we're going to actually get him to come towards us here by getting in combat with these orcs on purpose. Come on. And I'm actually going to drain this final orc. And we can see now on the map that Hiragon's moving. And that's great because Hiragon's now going to stand around here. And rather than us have to run all the way back up the hill to grab him, he's going to be right here and we can continue going. Now, Hiragon has 2 modes. We can see him right now. This is what we call combat mode Hiragon. He is running at full speed. This is relatively fast. Hiragon has another mode, however, called stealth mode. He's about to go into stealth mode. Stealth mode is so incredibly slow that it's actually faster. You can see stealth mode right now. It is actually faster for us to lure these orcs over. Hi, orcs. We're here. Get into combat with them, which will trigger Hiragon to go into combat mode. Kill them all. And this is still faster than walking through this encampment with Hiragon in stealth mode. So Hiragon now stays in combat mode for the rest of this encampment, and we can get him moving nice and fast, thankfully. Okay. So again, cardinal sin, we never cut Hiragon off here. We always go wide because cutting him off stops his AI from moving for about half a second. And we'll see the machine gun bow in trick again. Kill this Caragor. And scoot over here to grab this herb. Now we're seeing that we're getting a mission fail, but if we grab the herb, it triggers Hiragon's AI to go to the next step, which he will now come over. This orc is in a fantastic position. This is not normally happens, but hey, I'll take it. So what I was doing there is drain an orc. As soon as I drain an orc, they go into basically being feared. And we can then stealth attack them because essentially they're running away. So we can. So that was how I was able to perform a stealth attack there. And again, picked up another flower. And again, we have, if I get my line right, we'll have another flower here without stopping Hiragon from moving. Perfect. Right, I want to get behind Hiragon here. Just so I don't cut him off completely. Being behind Hiragon does slow him down very, very slightly, but I also don't want to cut him off, which makes more time. Now, normally I would push this to the absolute extreme, but we're going to play a little bit safe here because of marathon safety, so that should be good enough to run off from Hiragon. He'll stop moving, and we should be just in range to pick up this herb, which will trigger his next part of his AI. Excellent.
I look forward to seeing it.
Now I'm trying to do an absolutely stupid frame perfect trick here. I got it. Wow, that is so incredibly insanely hard to do. That saves less than 0.5 a second, and because this game runs at a variable frame rate, there's no setup for it.
Should be
But
enough.
hey, we got it.
Now all you have to do is drop it into the
Swag
smoke.
strats, love it.
Would the orcs not smell the poison?
No, but if they spot you, I doubt they will drink.
Alright, let me just shake my hands out here for a moment because the next part
The
is a
Uruks are
little bit of
stationed by the
focus
front
mode for
gates.
me. This mission
For the
can
sake of my
fail
men,
in
keep
so
to the
many
shadows.
ways. It
I'll
is
gather my men in
one of
right.
the
We'll
few,
stand ready
one
to
of the
seize the
many
blasting
mandatory
powder once the
stealth
camp is
sections in
clear.
this mission, in this game, and it is unfortunately very annoying. So here I'm going to line this up for a trick.
Remember, Talion.
If we leave
Don't
Kiragon
be
too
seen.
early, we fail.
These
I'm just
Uruks
listening
have
for an
killed
audio
many
cue.
slaves for far less.
Got it. Okay, cool. We can actually hit this guy before the mission stealth mechanic triggers. And therefore, going to kill this guy because he's in the way. Therefore, that archer that we teleported to and punched in the face will never know that we were there. He just thinks he got punched by something completely random and out of the blue, and he'll just forget about it. As you do. Oop.
Yeah,
These-
random guy shows up and punches me in the face. I forget about him instantly too.
No wonder this stuff burns.
These
so
barrels are notorious for you leaping over them constantly. The button for interact with these barrels doesn't show up all the time, and if you're holding W towards it, which is obviously walk forward, most of the time you'll leap over it. Now I'm taking this very specific path because the moment I drop poison in these barrels, orcs are triggered whenever they're close to run to the barrel. Don't jump off the bridge. Oh. Nope, we're okay. Okay. That guy just sometimes decides to jump off at the bridge at the wrong time and gets us seen, but thankfully we're able to kill him in the sort of coyote time we have before the mission actually thinks we failed. And again, one last barrel. Nope. Come on. There we go.
now there is
And what good would it be, if not waiting for a mission to load, to pick one more flower just as it fades to black? Alright, now we pray. Now we pray to RNGesus, because now this is the part of the run where we have to basically kill all the war chiefs in this area. We have to kill 4 out of 5 of them. Ratbag is one of them, and we have to kill four others. So, each mission we do, as I mentioned before, each mission we do is completely RNG. Every single fight will be that as well. What their weaknesses are. It's very fundamental that this game, you have to love RNG to run this game. It is a lot of fun, and it makes it so no two run is ever the same. But at the same time, you really have to be able to tolerate and be able to adapt. One of the biggest parts of running this game isn't being super good at it, it's being able to super adapt whenever you have an issue.
And his master shall
So for
answer.
instance, this one is actually quite a fast mission. I like this mission. It can go wrong in a couple of ways, but we're going to assume it doesn't, because I like to make assumptions here. So essentially, Squealer, we have to... Oh no, this is bad. So, RNG again. This is just a random world spawn captain that just happens to be here during this mission. What we have to do here is we have to hold on to this orc and hold on to him for 15 seconds. Now, normally it wouldn't be too bad, except for the fact that this captain is here. And as you can see, he's increasing all the orcs' damage around him. There's a poison orc here. And we completely dropped our mark. So I'm gonna... Oh, he's another captain. So we've got 2 captains here. That is... I may have to restart this mission, actually, because that is insanely bad. But hey, we'll give it one more go. And if we restart this mission, that's fine. Thankfully, there's really no punishment here for restarting this mission. Yep.
Have you ever seen a man
More
flayed?
talking.
Oh, how you'll weep before I'm done with you.
So we're going to try to hold on to this lad again, but no. Unfortunately, with a poison captain there, we've just got no chance. So we'll take the death. That's absolutely fine.
That's awful.
I want to make
That is some of the worst RNG I've had in a while in terms of a singular mission going bad. But hey, that's okay.
What's all?
What we might do is we might just target a different mission for now,
These towers of
because,
silver,
I mean, why
Their
not?
lights to guide us in the land of shadow.
And another Captain World spawn here. I can tell just by the colour. I'm going to try to roll away from him so he doesn't talk to me, because I don't want to talk to him. I'm very shy.
Gotcha! You think you're tough? You know nothing of tough.
Okay, buddy.
I will show you.
Absolutely sure. Just hold that for a few moments, and I'll be back later to fight you. I promise. Totally gonna follow up on that. All right, another mission, Piercing Light. Again, really good mission in terms of speed. All we need to do is just kill a bunch of certain named orcs with a bow. So, going to stealth. Oh, no.
I say no.
This is one of the ones here. And we can see them here. They're marked out for us. So if the game gets... no, I'm not going to get that guy. That's okay. Come on. Game. Okay. Just looking on the map, we need more elf shot. Elf shot's usually, well, it's always on the map, and it's usually up high. So thankfully we can just collect this elf shot. And like I said, this mission is much better because we don't have a fail condition here. There we go. And now what I want to try to do is get out of sight. So what I'm doing here is I'm spamming my Elven Vision, and I'm going to get the stats and the weaknesses of this orc. We are hoping for weakness to stealth or something easy to exploit. Vulnerable to stealth finishes. That's absolutely fantastic. So what that means, if we get out of sight, no one will know where we are. Should be able to... Yep, just straight up kill him. That is super good. And please don't tell me this is Bright Fury. Please don't tell me. Oh. Okay. So, there is a strategy later on to skip an entire boss fight that it revolves around that rune. I absolutely hate it. And that is such a rare drop that not a single run on the leaderboard has it. But I get to potentially show you it. The reason why I hate it so much is because we have to stun a boss with a dagger. It's only a 10% chance for the stun to happen, and then we have less than 0.3 of a second to react to that stun to actually interact with the boss. This is again, I'll show that when we get to it, but this is again a absolutely brilliant mission. We're just going to unleash a bunch of Caragors here, and that's it. So that mission really, again, nice and quick. Him having no followers, again, really good for us. Means we're less likely to die here. And nothing we can abuse, but that's okay. Not the end of the world. So we're going to stay out of sight here, just so we don't get surrounded by orcs as much. Next game. Oh, no, he's decided to aggro on with the Caragors, so that's fine. We'll just go straight up fight him.
Have you ever seen a Caragor feasting on a man? It's a quick death, merciful even, better than what I'll give you.
That's a long line from Mordor. So, again, the captains or the war chiefs in this instance aren't that bad to fight on their own. The big problem is when you get surrounded in this game. So, thankfully, we had a really good fight there. Yep, I'll bleed you, buddy. I promise. And off with his head. That was a quick kill animation. Good. Nice and simple. Problem here is the Caragors are not going to let me fast travel, because when we're in combat in this game, we cannot fast travel. So although unleashing the Caragors was great, if I don't get out of combat with them, I'm not going to be able to fast travel. Yeah. That's slightly annoying, but okay. I'm just looking for someone I can sort of shoot to get out of combat. Doesn't look like that's going to happen anytime soon. Caragors still are locked onto me. Caragors love to stay locked onto us. So we might have to just walk the entire distance. Oh, there's another captain. This guy again.
Captains are everywhere. He's chasing you.
Show me what you
Okay, that's actually good in a way because he is an archer, and at the very end of the game, the captain that we had the most interaction with in the game is going to be dubbed our nemesis, and we're going to fight them at the end of the game. So I'm actually hoping he's going to be our nemesis, because archers have a low HP pool. So that would be all right for us. Although every encounter does lose us like 10 seconds, so you know, bit of give, bit of take. Okay, there's someone I can teleport to. Just slide for a little bit on this rope because it looks cool, and we'll give Squealer another go. Where the orcs are completely placed, where those captains are placed, that's all RNG. We just hope that that doesn't happen again.
Time potentially for a couple of donations.
Absolutely, go for it.
So we got another $5 from Casimir. Too bad we can't wear that awesome hunter outfit. I know Rykon loves it more than anything. Thank you for that. And also $50 from Trip DM. Pardon me. Hope the RNG plays nice for you, Rykon, and good luck. Runner's choice for donation challenge.
Ah, excellent. Now, I believe the Shadow of War one hasn't been met yet.
Yeah, that's correct. So it currently has $370 left on it.
Alright, well, that probably may not happen. Hey, chat, you can make it happen. That would be really cool, but I'll throw it to that for now. And thanks very much, Trip DM and Casimir again. You are both fantastic little members of my crew, and it's great to see you guys come out. Okay, so I'm going to completely run away from this orc because he is vulnerable to stealth finishes again. And I need to get out of combat with all the orcs. We can see the arrows here indicate what they know. Yellow is good. Yellow means they don't exactly know where I am. They know that I'm around, but they don't know where I am. Okay, knock him out. And we're going to hope to get a stealth attack on this guy and finish it nice and simply. Got it. Nice. Okay, so outside of the one mission failure, that is a fantastic set of captains. That is so good. Now that we've killed all the captains, we can move on to Hiragon 3. Hiragon 2. No, Hiragon 3. This is Hiragon 3. I don't call them that. I'm the only runner who goes by the normal mission names, so it's a little bit confusing for me, but I'll use the other runners' terminology because that's what the missions are actually called in our speedrun. Anyway, moving on. This is another, as you can imagine, this game loves its escorts, so this is another start of an escort mission here. And another chance to show off the fact... yes, we can show off the fact that Hiragon has a really strange hitbox, and if we can just clip into his hitbox a little bit, we can get sent up in the air. I'm not sure it's going to happen.
We'll need to steal a cart of
I wasn't
grog
able to
from
pull it
the
off.
Uruk.
That's alright. Alright, let's quickly level up here. We're going to grab Quick Dagger. This is an absolutely fantastic ability in Mordor. It is our quickest way of disposing with ghouls. And we've sort of seen ghouls before, but here's a nice close-up of the ghoul. And as you can see, Quick Dagger is so good for disposing of them. Alright, so this is where the routing starts to change over the last 3 weeks. We used to unleash this Karagor up here, that you can see in the cage, just over there. And we used to do a bunch of funny things and try to manipulate it to killing a bunch of orcs. Thankfully, that's all changed because of our new runes. We're going to actually shoot that guy to alert him, and then I'm going to start brutalizing him. This is what Brutalize does. You can see that orc there. He counts as now fled because he's now scared. I'm also looking at the ground here to skip a little animation, and as I'm killing this guy, I will play that animation out. That actual animation completely locks your character from doing anything. Alright, 7 out of 9. Things are looking good. Archer's being a pain, but that's okay. Actually, you know what? I'm bored of Hiragon. I'm just going to leave him. He's a bit boring now.
He's too slow anyway.
He's way too slow. He's boring. I'm just going to run off and fail this mission. Intentionally, obviously. This teleports Hiragon down here and saves him at a very slow pace of walking all the way from that point over there down to here. So, nice little skip. We'll do that again in this mission.
Look.
And it's very, very useful.
This decay.
Okay.
Gondor must not fall prey to
And
the
if I
shadow.
do this right, we'll be able to pick a flower again without actually losing any time at all. Now, these flowers do technically give you a very, very minuscule amount of XP, but the amount of XP over the entire run is not even worth 1/8 of a level with all the flowers I pick. So it's absolutely pointless, but I love it. It's one of the things that makes this interesting for me, is trying to figure out where I can pick more flowers.
Wait.
Now, again, we used to unleash this Caragor, but things have changed. The Brutalize rune is very, very powerful, and we're just going to use that. But for now, we've got to kill a bunch of ghouls. Again, this is where Quick Dagger comes into play, as it is very, very efficient at killing. You in a good spot? You are in a good spot. Hiragon, I don't want to shoot you in the shoulder. Okay.
The Uruk camp lies before us. Kill the lot so my men can pass.
So again, we're going to see the Brutalize rune coming here into play. And we see all of these orcs now count as dead, because they're all running away because they're feared of Brutalize. And essentially that's what we're going to be doing constantly. Wherever it's quicker, we will stealth kill like this, because stealth killing is still faster than brutalizing. But for clearing a bunch of orcs, you cannot beat Brutalize. But again, I'm kind of bored of this mission. We're just going to run away from Hiragon here. He's kind of slow and boring. This is actually really important. If Hiragon at all gets into combat in that last sequence, he will go into stealth mode here. However, if we do the mission reset, he will always stay in combat mode, and we're able to just run him directly to the objective. And now he goes into stealth mode, but that's fine, because we're going to go up here, and we're going to do the thing we always do in missions and try to grab fast travel points so we don't have to come back to them later. Thankfully, Hiragon doesn't care about vertical distance. He only really cares about horizontal distance. So as long as we sort of path around that pillar pretty easily, he will not really care, and he'll only stop moving for a few seconds. Okay. Come on, Hiragon. Let's go. Shout out to the worker here, by the way, if he's here today. Is he here today? Shout out to this worker right here, this human worker, who is still working while all of his orcs friends are getting slaughtered by ghouls. Also, these beasts need to simmer down, Hiragon, because they're going to give us away otherwise.
Simmer, beasts, and you'll get Uruk guts as a reward.
Thank you. Alright, so killing this ghoul here before Hiragon gets to it really makes his AI go weird. We get Turbo Hiragon, who is absolutely the best escort in the game, and we want more of Turbo Hiragon. We don't know why, but if you kill that ghoul before he interacts with it, he just goes super fast here. Unfortunately, that doesn't last forever, but it's enough to get us through most of the mission. Now here, we're going to actually see Elven Light. This is an ability we unlocked ages ago, but we barely use it in the run. But there's a good example of it. We use our 8 combo stacks just to do an AoE stun. It only stuns orcs, but with ghouls it does kill them. So that's pretty much the... Unless we get bad RNG, that is the only instance. What are you doing, Talion? Get off the wall.
My men will protect the cart. Let's clear the ridge so they may pass.
Oh, and to address Casimir before, I personally believe that each of the skins that you can play in this game gives you different set of seed RNG. It's totally not true, but I feel like any time I have the Beastmaster skin on, which is what he was referring to, I have had absolutely shocking runs. Thankfully, I'm just in the default skin today, so we'll go with that. Now again, I used to have a really cool strategy for here. It was really fun, really interesting. Unfortunately, it works out to be about 1.5 seconds slower, so we have to do this the boring old way. We used to actually take this Caragor here and ride it and use it to our advantage to fight the ghouls, but unfortunately the kitty has to go for a quick nap. Okay, cool. Come on, Hiragon. Give me lines. Hiragon is taking damage, apparently. That's not the line I wanted. You gonna talk, Hiragon, or are you gonna soft lock me? Hiragon. Were you gonna soft lock here? Okay, good. We're not.
Darkness built by the blood of my people. I will relish its destruction.
Oh, draw distance is really off. There we go.
That monument will
that's bad. That's okay. Okay, I'm going to have to modify my strat here, unfortunately. We used one too many arrows there, but that's alright. Normally we'd lure an orc up to this point and then Shadow Strike to him. We don't have enough arrows for that as it costs 2, so we'll just use our feet instead.
The Orc's numbers dwindle now that their war chiefs have fallen by
We'll
my
just
hand.
drain this guy for the extra arrow, because I'm used to having 6 arrows here. And please get out of the way. Thank you, sir. Load that up. Run down here. Now we're really just trying to clear the orcs as fast as possible. And again, we're going to see the power of this brutalized rune. So normally we'd have to fight all these orcs, but if I just do this, we can see that all of these orcs are now considered fleeing. And we've only got a few more to actually fight here. Now, have these orcs technically seen me? They have, so I'm just going to blow them up. Thankfully, we all know that humans are fireproof, so it doesn't matter that we're setting humans on fire as long as the orcs die. All right, we missed one somewhere. Where are you today? You're up there. Okay. That's okay. That's just because of the path change that I quickly had to do, but not into the way. Right, so here, I'm going to... Oh, didn't drain me completely. I'm sorry. I need a timer here. This is the absolute stupidest trick I've ever found, and I need to go full focus mode for a few seconds.
I'll handle the Orcs.
Okay,
You handle the
so we have a running
explosives.
timer right now. I have 43 seconds to get to the exact position I need to be able to snipe an archer as a cutscene loads. And it is incredibly hard. I've only ever actually done it once in a run, and it took me over 55 minutes in practice to even figure out how to do this. And everyone's going to think it's such a huge time save, and trust me, it is such a huge time save. It saves around 0.6 of a second. So this is absolutely stupid, and this is also CPU dependent. The faster your CPU, the less time you have here to react. So because this isn't my computer, I may not get this, but we're definitely going to try for it. 41, 42, 43. Got it!
Nice.
So the thing with that trick is we actually have to shoot before the archer spawns because the arrow takes time to actually get to the actual target. So we have to shoot before it spawns and just hope that the arrow lands as the unit spawns. Alright, thankfully that's the last timer I have to do. Now we're going to do a little bit of manipulation here and look at the ground. There's going to be another wave of archers that we're meant to kill, but if I'm looking at the ground, they've now spawned, we can see them up here. Most of the time they will now target the cart over me. They'll sometimes miss the cart and still hit me, which is annoying, but the cart like that. But the cart has enough HP to actually tank these hits. Also, fun fact to note, this is meant to be a cart full of grog. There's actually no grog in these barrels. So it's not a very good explosive trigger, even though they think it is. But hey, we're not going to judge the developers for that. Moving water is incredibly annoying and hard. Alright, and pushing the cart here. There we go. It's about to go for a split then. So ingrained in my head. Alright, so now we're moving on to the last
To these
mission of this
outcasts, it
zone
seems I
until
am
the
less
end of
of
the
a
game.
monster in death than I was in life.
So this is our first big boss battle. The boss battle itself is relatively easy, but doing it with the speedrun strats makes it incredibly hard and precise. Our goal of this boss fight is to never drop our combo stacks, and you've seen them building up on the left. That is integral to getting this boss down fast. But this boss has a bunch of reset mechanics. This is the hammer. He is incredibly painful. If we hit him more than 3 times in a row, he will automatically start instantly interrupting us. So what we're going to do here is we're going to block him because apparently he wants to swing at me. But every time we interact with an orc here, it resets his sort of aggro amount of times we can swing for him. So we're going to try to get 3 swings on him, but an orc's probably going to interrupt me. Okay, we see there's his instant smack back. And we can see we're trying to avoid that. And we can run up on him to keep our combo. So now what's going to happen is I'm going to execute him. I'm going to slightly roll back, pull out my bow, shoot him in the head. That should phase trans him. I'm going to jump over this orc to avoid getting interrupted by the phase transition, and we're able to keep our combo. So, sounds really easy, really annoying to do, and I just dropped my combo there because I didn't dodge fast enough. That's okay. Not the end of the world, like I've said before. It's just a difference between going super fast and getting a phase transition. So here we're going to execute him again. Same deal. We're going to get away from him, shoot him, phase transition him, jump over an orc. In that case, I didn't get the orc jump, but I still managed to actually keep this. Somehow I dropped my combo there. But that's okay, because we phase transitioned him before any orcs were around, so we wouldn't have been able to keep our combo anyway. Roll back, pull out our bow, shoot him here to reset his aggro timing. And apparently jump on him for that was just good RNG manipulation. That totally wasn't me accidentally pressing the jump button.
Totally intended.
Totally intended. And there is the hammer down. So that is our first big boss down of the game.
The darkness sweet.
It is super sweet, buddy. I love the darkness. So essentially what's trying to happen story-wise is they're trying to corrupt me and trying to make me surf Sauron. And so he actually let me kill him there to try to move me further into the dark side. Okay. Thankfully, that fast travel point that we unlock with Hiragon now comes in use. We're going to fly over to this side of the map, pull out our bow here, get a good orc spawn. That doesn't always happen. And move to the second zone of the game, which is personally my favourite zone in this game.
Poor guy just got barreled over.
He got barreled over. We got to go fast. We can't really stop barreling over humans. We get a little bit of the story during load scenes, but hey, that's okay. Alright, so this is the second zone of the game. This is Nirn. This is really quite a beautiful zone. Really fancy. We're not going to see a lot of it, unfortunately, but it is really, really pretty. And like all good missions, we're going to start a mission by doing what the game doesn't intend us to do and unlock a fast travel point during a mission. But thankfully the game lets us do it, so hey, we'll take it. Alright. So essentially now we've met with a witch. If you've watched any of the Lord of the Rings movies, and you'll notice the king is being possessed by Saruman, well, this witch is also being possessed by Saruman. This game, I missed the fast speed, but that's okay. This game uses a lot of sort of the same things that the Lord of the Rings movie uses, just in different ways. So this witch is actually going to teach us about Celebrimbor's past, because Saruman actually wants us to build an orc army for him so that he can use it. But we don't know that at this point in the game. Sorry for the spoilers, but hey, you'll find out. You won't be able to see any of that anyway because I'm skipping all the cutscenes. One thing to unlock Celebrimbor's past is finding the hammer that I mentioned before, that we don't actually have, but we've been using the whole time on all of the fast travel points. And again, it wouldn't be a monolith game without a force stealth section where you instantly fail if you get detected. And this one is probably the most annoying out of the lot, I would say. But we have a pretty good method for most of the time getting through it uneventful. So I've got to sort of roll my hand over the keyboard then to pick up arrows as I'm holding stealth. If you let go for stealth for even one frame there, you will trigger a ghoul attack. So you've sort of got to roll your hand to hold all the buttons and pick up the arrows. It's annoying, but don't hang out, Talion. He likes to hang out sometimes. Go around this pillar to the left here. That ghoul is completely blind, thankfully. And then this ghoul always spawns here. Shadow strike to it. And we can move on. Now, I believe we're playing on low enough graphics that we're actually going to see the low poly version of the Ghoul Mother boss spawn here, which is absolutely fantastic because this thing is horrendous in low poly. Yep, there it is there.
Perfect line as well.
It's just out of range far enough where the low poly model spawns. Okay, so here we want to get as many headshots as we can. Okay, that's that. One more for good luck, because I think I hit her shoulder once. Bring her over here. Come on, Ghoul Mummy. Come on. Blow her up. Give her 3 good sword swings. If her children will let me. And then we're just going to execute her. Alright.
The storm is past.
Now this is absolutely optional here, but I want to show off a really cool glitch that I discovered while actually practicing for ASM. It doesn't save us any time, but it's fun. This cave is meant to be swarming with ghouls, but if we Shadow Strike to that ghoul, we actually jump over the trigger, to spawn all the ghouls, and there's no dialogue in here, nothing happens, it just kind of is a blank cave run. Which is funny and silly, but yeah, it's meant to be really intense and intense music going on, but instead we just casually walk out of the cave with no issue at all. Cool. Now this first part of Nern again is very structured. We talk a lot about doing missions in random orders. This first part we want to do ASAP because it unlocks the ability to start dominating orcs. One big story element in this game is we have the ability to make our own orc army. And essentially that's through the power of Celebrimbor. Now, here this mission is fairly straightforward. However, I did discover this really interesting time save, and again, this was while practicing for ASM. So thank you, ASM, for making this mission just slightly harder, but much cooler because we have a very small time save now for this mission. We used to just run along here. However, if I run directly at these orcs, and again, I cannot be detected, we'll just get in range to spawn this archer, teleport up to him, and if we do everything in the correct order, that archer will have no idea that we just gave him an old smack in the head, and we'll land in the cutscene before he figures out where we are. Cool.
Nice.
So that's a nice little skip that I discovered while actually routing this. So,
how much does that save?
about 15 seconds.
That's actually significant time save then.
It is, but it is risky as well, because if that archer sees us at all, we fail this. And these archers here are only in this position and only in this area during this first load-in. If you get a reload, you have to do it a completely different, unoptimal way.
Right.
But essentially, we're just going to pick out a bunch of archers here. These are all going to be our new BFFs, as you can see here. And what we're meant to be doing is we're meant to be grabbing all these archers to fight all these orcs, because there's no way we as the player can fight this many orcs at once. Now, I'm going to play it a little bit safe here and snipe this guy out early. And go slow for this guy. Okay. So normally we'd fight all these orcs, we'd activate the archers, but hey, remember that brutalize rune? We've only got two people left to fight now.
That rune is so broken.
It is incredibly broken. Where are you? Come on. It is incredibly broken, but we just had no clue about that because it really is unassuming. Also, shout outs to these guys here who have their hands above their heads and are untied. And when the cutscene loads, their hands are bound behind their back and we have to cut their hands free. Alright, and like again, we've got a huge wave of orcs to spawn. Hey, we have to fight them all. Nah, we'll just shoot a bunch of flies onto them and most of them will run away. The few that don't, we'll just again use the brutalize rune and everyone else will run away and mission done. Yep, slightly too fast on that pause there. Cool.
Kill these Uruk. It is another to make them our followers.
It is a gift.
Okay.
We can use the weapon of the enemy against him.
So now, obvious progression in the game. We've just had a bunch of orcs that we've just recruited. So what's the next step? Hey, let's recruit a captain. And then we're going to make him a war chief.
Marwan said to
So thankfully, this is all pretty standard. Where Grublik spawns is RNG, and that can change the strategies I have to go for. But for the most part, we're going to have this fairly standard. We're going to shadow struck to that orc over there. We stand on this bridge just here, which gives us in range. This guy is not being nice today and decided to be over there. Just going to drain him for the extra arrows. This is a safety method, just in case Grublik is in a bad area, which he is. But if we've done this right, yep, Grublik should then be absolutely terrified of that brutalize, and we should be able to he should just run away. Come on, Grublik. I want to give you a big hug, buddy. And we're going to be like, hey, Grublik, you want to go fight this guy? And he's like, yeah, no problems at all, but I'm going to need an army first. So now we have to build Grublik an army. So essentially now we're powering up an orc. So it's really interesting again. This used to have some really interesting routing and some really interesting ways we go about this mission. because we have to sort of kill these orcs in a very specific order and do all this fancy stuff. But hey, we have the brutalized rune, and it just makes it so much easier. So this is why we really like this rune now that the runners and I have got sort of used to it, because it makes this area so much more consistent. And so we don't like Grublik talking. Grublik is a mean person, and every time he's going to talk in this mission, we're just going to interrupt him. So again, we'd have to kill all these orcs very quickly, and we sort of have to kill them before Grublik got here, otherwise he tries to fight them and their AI goes crazy. But thankfully, Brutalized Rune again trivializes everything. So, Grublik, no talking. No talking, Grublik. Excellent. Alright, one more group of orcs to fight, and this one usually doesn't scare all of the orcs. So there's a certain amount of orcs you can scare with the Brutalized Rune. And you can see here, one orc has decided to be brave, so we're just going to bring him onto our army. If he's brave enough not to run away, he deserves to be on the team. Plus, that gives us a free arrow refill there. So again, Grublik, no talking. You are a very naughty boy. We don't like you talking. Nope, Grublik, no talking. This actually does save time, by the way, because Grublik's conversations are very long. And now we've got nothing else to do but play Orc Bowling for a little bit, so we're just going to play Orc Bowling here while we wait for a cutscene.
Let us stalk our prey.
Oh, only 3 pins. That was a bad bowl.
Not great.
All right. So now, essentially, Grublik has a big enough army behind him that he is now promoted to a bodyguard of a war chief. Don't understand how that works in Orc logic, but apparently he has enough people behind him, he can be promoted.
The great advantage will ready us for this battle.
So, did we get a good spawn or a bad spawn? Bad spawn on this archer, but we can fix that nice and easy.
That's because it's tastier while it's beating.
Listen to them. Vile
Orcs talking about how tasty human hearts are.
Harness and command.
I personally have no idea. How about you?
I do not.
Okay, good to know. I'm glad that no one understands how chewy or non-chewy human hearts are. Okay, so this is going to go by really fast. I need to sort of explain this as I'm doing it rather than give you heads up. This is a me special, but this is not the fastest way to do this, but this is the most consistent way that I can eliminate RNG in this fight. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to grab these extra arrows. Then I'm going to shoot this barrel, which kills a bunch of orcs that we don't see. As I shoot this fire to explode it, I'm going to activate Grublik. What that does is stop Grublik from burning, and he's immediately going to start DPSing the war chief. Now, while the other one is burning, his other bodyguard that is not ours, in this case he's actually feared, but normally he's still on fire. So that's great.
Easy pickings.
And this fight can get out of control very easily. Thankfully, fear of betrayal, that's lucky, that's good RNG on our part, but hey. This fight can get very out of hand very quickly, so we've got to make sure that we sort of focus Tars down as soon as possible, and you're going to see this combination a lot, where we sort of go stun, if the orc will let me, stun, knock him to the ground, give him a ground execute. Oh. The game really wanted me to kill that orc, apparently. Game, what are you doing? I've never seen it do it. It normally takes 2 hits to knock this guy to the ground, not 1. So the game's being very funny. But I will let it play. So far, this fight hasn't gone too bad. And he should take a knee any second now. Any second. Any second. Oh! I have never skipped his closing lines before.
Nice.
That is a first for me. I didn't actually know that was possible. And like before we said, Grublik. Game. Okay, we're just gonna... Grublik. No talking, buddy. No talking. And now, we don't know why this happens. This is the only cutscene where this happens. But if we brand an orc we already own, it just takes us to the cutscene. We don't know why that happens, and it's the only mission it does, but hey, we'll take it.
There's one of the Astari. With the power of the ring, he could have built a
So
great
now we
army
have
to
time
challenge
for
the
1 or 2
Dark Lord.
donations if you'd like, while I traverse to the next Hadia.
Yeah, fantastic. We've got $10 from Fiery, who said that they woke up 3 hours early. 3 hours too early for my flight to ASM because I'm too excited. Or perhaps I woke up at the perfect time to catch Rykon's awesome runs as always.
Thank you heaps, that's really nice. You got time for one more.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll just quickly remind everyone about the prizes that we do have. We've got a couple of prizes thanks to our major sponsor HyperX as well as Landfall Games. So to quickly run through those, if you donate at least $10, you'll be eligible to win one of 8 Landfall game bundles, which is comprising of Cluster Truck, Tabs, and Nightfall. If you're in Australia, if you donate $20 or more, you'll go in the running to wear a pair of the HyperX Cloud earbuds, and $40 or more will put you in the running to win one of 2 HyperX Cloud 2 gaming headsets. Cloud 2 is actually what our host station is using, and yeah, they're pretty worth it. We've got full information regarding all that prizing at prizes.ausspeedruns.com, including terms and conditions and so forth. And of course, thank you to Landfall and our major sponsor HyperX for providing these wonderful prizes. But of course, in order to get into those prizes, you've got to donate. So that's donate.ausspeedruns.com. Keep them coming. Thank you, everyone, for your generosity.
Okay, so this is my favourite dad joke mission in the game. This mission is, I call it the Robert Smith. For anyone who's not 400 years old and has no idea what I'm talking about, this mission's actually called the Cure, but I'd always call this the Robert Smith. Again, the Brutalised Rune absolutely trivialises this. We used to have to do a bunch of setup, but hey, we can just instead brutalise that one guy. So we're essentially trying to secure all these 3 locations. Did the RNG gods bless me today? I don't see a fire. Oh, there's a nest. Okay. You have 3 options here. You can get a nest spawning, a fire spawning, or no spawn at all. If you don't get a spawn at all, this fight becomes incredibly hard. Thankfully, we got a nest spawn, so we're able to, instead of having to brutalise a guard, we can instead open up on Luger and do half his HP in a stealth attack. Okay, wow, Luger had bad HP this spawn. That's great. And that should be the Robert Smith mission all done. There we go, cool.
Nathariel's strength shines through her leadership.
And now, for anyone wondering why I prefer Shadow of War over Shadow of Mordor, as they're both absolutely brilliant, fun speed games for me. But if anyone is ever wondering, you know, Rykon, why don't you play Shadow of Mordor more? Why do you only focus on Shadow of War? I want to present to you the Torvin set of missions. These missions, without a doubt, are some of the slowest missions in this game, and they are so incredibly frustrating, even with our skips. Torvin himself, brilliant NPC. Lots of fun. Also, another flower. But his missions are so filled with this amount of exposition that we just cannot skip. We have some little skips here and there, but unfortunately we don't have any big skips.
Will not be impressed by your rank. All flesh tastes the same to them. Once you go on the hunt camp.
Okay, so I need to quickly grab a set of upgrades here. I'm going to grab this one, I'm going to grab this one, and we're going to grab this one. Cool. We've got our set of upgrades that we need.
Changed man. Hopefully for the better.
And we're just waiting for a Pacific line, and then we can go. Okay, this is the only part of this mission that we can sort of fast forward, thankfully. Normally you have to walk Torvin all the way over here, but if you just get to this point, you'll see these Caragors are spawning. We can't interact with the first 2, but the 3rd one here we can shoot. That will trigger the next part. Now, because Torvin's so far away, I have to very slowly walk here, and I can actually get too far away from Torvin and fail the mission. But if I do it right, I can climb that building, and then once you're above a Caragor, you can jump on their back, and you can brand them, and now we have our pet kitty. So this is our BFF kitty, and we have no idea what this kitty here is doing. It's definitely not here for any story elements. Also, please remember, Torvin is a dwarf, and look at this vertical, look at this jump.
Oh, wow. What a leap.
He should be in the Olympics if the dwarves have that. Alright, here I'm going to push Torvin. I have a few seconds where I can interact with him before he becomes uninteractable, and I'm going to try to push him. That wasn't great, but I was pushing him closer to his next sort of checkpoint that he walks. He walks very much like a Warcraft 3 NPC, and he has very set points that he has to touch on the map.
from the Black Gate.
Okay, those orcs are spawned here, that means I can go. This is not speeding up the mission at all, this is just me wanting to kill a bunch of orcs before Torvin has his conversation. And like any good dwarf, he wants to have a competition on who can kill more orcs. So we're going to let Torvin have his little competition. As you can see up the top, it actually tracks it, and our bonus objective is to kill more than Torvin, but we're going to go, hey, we can't be bothered doing that. You know, we're just going to grab this fast travel point again. Like always, the mission just allows us to do this without mission failing. It's actually really close. Literally, if you jump off the wrong side of this tower, you mission fail, and you have to go through all that dialogue again. Now, one very important thing here. Oh, my Caragor's taken some hits. That's not great. That's okay. We can get some... Oh, my golly gosh. That's really bad on HP. So I'm actually going to take it slow here and get some more HP back. Now, one thing you're going to know here is that I have... Personally, I have hand tremors in my hands. Oop, upgrades. Thank you. So you're going to not... Oh, I don't have the amount of money. That's annoying. That's RNG again, by the way. So you're going to notice me missing a bunch of these shots. And I do apologize. I actually turned my mouse settings down so that I'm able to quickly shoot these orcs. But essentially, this is... Right now, I hold the world record for this game. But this is the section and the reason why I won't be holding the record forever, because I can not line up shots very well. So I apologize, but you're all going to have to sit here and watch me fail at archery for a little bit. Thankfully, archers can just be body shots. But if you're wondering why I was so concerned about my Caragor health before, come on. Down you go. Down you go. Nope. That's alright. I'm going to let Torvin handle him. We can drain our Caragor for arrows, as you can see here, but it costs at a tremendous amount of HP. In fact, Caragor has taken so much damage, I'm actually really concerned here. This is an unusual amount of... Normally you shoot the fire, it blows up, all these orcs die, and you don't have to deal with them at all. Unfortunately, I shot an orc, he ran into the fire. But hey, it gives us a chance to get some Caragor HP back. So whenever we're killing orcs, we can right-click on them and get a tiny bit of Caragor HP back. Cool. Now I am probably going to fail this mission, unfortunately, because my Caragor HP is so low. We are going to need a ton of arrows coming up, and I just physically don't have the HP. But that's okay. We'll get to that when we go. There's a few backup strategies we can do, but we're not going to be super fast on this area. And again, lots of talking with Torvin. Come on, Torvin. Come on, Torvin.
I once tracked a great eagle back to her nest.
Where is it? There they are. Okay, so these orcs are spawned. We can just let Torvin continue talking and we'll just head off. Alright, so here we go, the great sniping competition. And why I don't do any of the shorter categories in this game that require a lot of bow skills. So it's not too bad when we have slowdown time, but once we no longer run out of slowdown time, we are going to be in a lot of trouble here. Okay. And I also need to stay at range here because I'm actually manipulating where the final orc is going to spawn. But I may not actually be able to stay at range just due to my Caragor's HP. Come on, Orky boy. There we go. No. Okay, I can pull one more set of arrows out of him, that's it. So I'm actually going to have to get into the fight here and just hope that no one hits me and then be able to back up at the last second. Okay, I'm going to back up here. Okay, does Torvin have that one? Yes, he does. Okay, good. So shooting that orc early warps Torvin to the next location because there's meant to be a cutscene that plays there that shows you that orc spawning and then Torvin disappearing. But if we shoot that orc early, Torvin just teleports, and killing these two before the cutscene plays two cutscenes over the top of each other. Oh, that mission's done.
Nice.
Okay, that's Torvin 1. Unfortunately, we have 3 Torvins.
Are they all like that?
They are not as bad on archery, but they are all extremely slow, with the third one being the worst out of the 3. So we're immediately going to head to Torvin 2. This is Torvin 2, which, as every speedrunner loves, starts off with basically an unskippable cutscene.
You want to hunt Graug?
Okay, now we have enough to get this upgrade. Yes, we do. Cool. So, more arrows in our quiver.
So you shall.
Went out to,
Not just any
sorry,
Graug.
excuse me, 8 shots, which would have been useful beforehand, but hey, you can't.
Tutorial.
Orcs basically drop an RNG amount of money or weapons or items, and since we got the rarest drop in the game, which is actually going to maybe help us skip a boss, I can't complain.
Now you're talking like a hunter.
Okay.
I've got a feeling in my gut you may survive this.
Shoot this.
since
We're
that's
not
the
just
largest
randomly
part of you,
murdering orcs because
like those odds.
this Grog is meant to go over to the
surely
orcs,
have a
fight
plan
the
to kill this
orcs,
Grog.
and then
do, Captain.
eat them.
And since you're
But
so
since
good
we've
at
already
taking
killed them,
orders,
it's going to go straight
I'll
into
tell
its
you how,
eating
Step
animation.
by step. Step 1.
Come on, Torvin.
When he's crunching
As
on
soon as
the
Torvin
hook,
steps on this
sneak
rock up here, we're
behind the
right to
giant
go.
beast and
So,
bleed the
come on,
bastard's
Torvin.
ankle.
Step on the
Right
rock.
on his
Thank
throat.
you.
There is one place Graug's aren't
So
covered
I have
in
timed this
spiky
mission
steel.
down to the millisecond, trying to skip all of Torvin's dialogue. And as soon as he touches that rock, we're right to go. This Grog, thankfully, because we've already killed these orcs, is already in eat mode, which means we don't need to wait for it. We can just run directly at it, and by the time we get to it, we can snap its ankle. So, we snap its ankle, the Grog is now bleeding.
The blood will attract Caragors. Jump on one before she jumps on you. Your speed will now match the Graug's. Get her to chase you. I'll be waiting.
And if we did everything right,
Quite a ride.
a little bit of a bad spawn there, but that's okay. We can jump directly onto this Caragor and save this whole next section, which is annoying.
I'll distract him using my wily charms, while you, Captain, shoot him in the head.
Sounds easy enough.
So for anyone wondering why we're randomly going on a hunt with a dwarf a bunch of times, he knows where a relic of Cerebrimbor's is, and he wants, it's in a big Grog's lair. This is a normal sized Grog, the big white Grog is a different one. And he's going to take us to there if we train with him, essentially.
My beard was only 3 inches long. Step 3, shoot it in the head.
So here, I'm going to quickly put my Caragor down for a nap. And that's actually really important, because what's going to happen after we dominate this Grog, spoilers for the next 10 seconds, sorry, a bunch of orcs are going to spawn, and if that Caragor's still up, it distracts the orcs, and then it's slower than not having it up. So there's a bunch of button inputs here. Thankfully, most of them are always the same, so it's right-click, left control, right-click, left control, right-click, and the last one is RNG. Which again is my favourite statement in this game.
Now that's a hunter.
And orcs randomly show up out of nowhere. My golly gosh, thankfully we have a Grog. Otherwise this would have been a lot of orcs to kill. Okay. Ugh, this Grog is not turning. Oh, I didn't change my DPI settings back. That's my own fault. This Grog handles like an old 70s Pontiac, to be honest. It drifts really badly. And it does most of the things we don't want it to do. So, what attack it does is based on how I'm sort of positioning. The only attack we don't want here is where the Grog punches the ground. We've seen it already a couple of times, but any other attack besides the ground punch is fine. Come on, last orc. And then, even though we have a Grog, and that would be a really good weapon against the bigger Grog, apparently we just want to kill it because we're hunters, reasons. Never understood that.
Mordor.
Alright, let's see. Okay, bad RNG
Seemed to
spawn,
touch
but
that
that's
dwarf.
okay.
The 7 rings of power did not turn the dwarf kings to
Thank you, by the
wraiths,
way, for keeping
as
track of
the
that.
9
That's
rings
alright.
did to man.
Okay, so
They
this
are as
is,
stubborn as
for anyone who's
stone
actually
and
played
cannot
this
be
game, would be
dominated
very
by
confused
evil.
about what I'm doing right
That
now.
is why Sauron has
This is
sworn to
completely
destroy
an
them.
optional mission. You do not have to do these missions to progress. And it may look very, very strange and confusing, but there is a method to my madness. So the game developers, in their infinite wisdom, thought it would be cool if you could pit orcs against orcs in fights. And if we, for instance, have a war chief, we can say, hey, Grublik, would you love to go and fight this other guy, this other war chief? And he's like, sure. And if you remember from the first part of the game where we had to collect a worm, find the information, do the mission, then spawn the war chief, this basically shortcuts all of that. We can just go, Grublik, would you mind going and fighting, I don't know, this guy? And he'll be like, yep, sure, boss, no problems at all, I'll get right onto it. And that'll spawn us a new mission. Where did that spawn? That's a really good spawn, so we'll take that right now. And Grublik now has a mission to basically fight that war chief. And if you notice, some of those missions took up to sort of 10 minutes to complete, up, you know, from the point where we got the worm to the point where we actually did the mitcha. Do the mission, not the mitcha. I don't know why I said mitcha, but we'll just stop saying that word. Alright. You can see from the time we grabbed Grublik, we told him to, hey, go fight. Oh, sorry, using the ladder as well. That's OHS, but then again, these orcs have no safety barriers, so bad OHS. And war chief spawned. It's as simple as that. Now, I want everybody in the chat, everybody out there, please, just pray. Pray to whatever RNG deity you have, because this is where the run can actually completely soft lock. Nope, didn't get a brutalize here. That's really bad. But if this orc has an ability called Combat Master, this run can take an extra 5 minutes per orc, or I may even lose my orc completely, because my war chief can die here, and then I'm back to square one. Okay, we're able to execute this orc, which I know sounds pretty standard, but thankfully that means that he is not a Combat Master. We have to roll that RNG 4 more times. We essentially have to hope that 4 more times. Okay, that's bad that I killed him because we need him on our side. However, thankfully, one of his bodyguards is going to be promoted in his place. So not the end of the world, and thankfully none of his bodyguards actually ran away, because they sometimes run away. So now we're just going to slow down time for a second. Nope, nope, you. So this is our new war chief, and he's already feared. So thankfully, we can just be like, hey dude, you're a war chief. You know what would be really cool? If you went and go fought this other war chief. And now you can see the kind of pattern we're going to be doing a lot in this run. We're now going to Grublik. We're going to grab Grublik, and again, we're going to be like, hey Grublik, you should totally go and fight this other guy over here. And now we have 2 new missions on the map, 2 new riots to do, and our war chiefs are off the map, which is really, really important, because if our war chiefs stay on the map, they can die, and it can lose us a ton of time. Right, any good riots over here? Rescues there. 1 right there, 1 right there. Again, random spawns, but hey, we'll take it. We'll go do those, and then we'll go do the final mission of Torvin. So, like I said before, this is a little bit floaty on which missions we do. It's really just based on where they spawn and what we hope for. Alright, here I'm going to climb this. I'm going to shoot this Caragor. Hey, Caragor, I'm over here. Good Caragor. Good kitty. And this is definitely our fastest way of moving around in this map. If they spawn here, that's great. If not, not the end of the world. Now we're going to run past the Torvin mission, because that will end us in a completely different area. Whereas this mission will take... This mission starts and ends here, as most riots do. Okay. And again, we need to pray. This is going to happen a few times, but we need to pray, because if one of these orcs is a combat master, and if then it's going to take maybe 5 minutes, there's a good chance my war chief will die, there's a good chance I will die. The ability is so strong. In fact, in the sequel, they split Combat Master into 3 separate abilities for a war chief to have. So there we brutalize just to get rid of all of the base guys. It does not get rid of the bodyguards or the war chief. We'd need to brutalize another time to do that, which we can do. However, as you saw before, if we accidentally kill a war chief, then we need his bodyguards around so that we're able to take them. But the bodyguards really like to interrupt the fight a lot. Okay, he executed, which means he's not a combat master. That is... Honestly, this is what I was most nervous about with this whole run, was getting, if we encountered a combat master, and how I was going to have to deal with it. Because we can't ground execute combat masters, we can't regular execute them, we can't even finish the Wraith combo on them. There is essentially nothing we can do to really get a combat master down.
Kill me if you must, but you can't beat us.
I'm not going to kill you, buddy.
Take it over, see?
Come on.
We're the new king.
You can finish talking. Okay. And if anyone didn't guess what I was going to do, hey, I'm going to send this guy to go fight the other.
This isn't going to plan.
Now, based on the fact that we've only got one person left, I'm going to... Never mind, he's dead. I was going to say I'm going to leave my war chief on the board and take a risk that he might die, but thankfully that guy decided to get the spins and just die. So, perfect. And again, we have two more rights to go here. So, if you have any donations or anything you'd like to read out, now's a good time because we're just going to be rinse and repeating the same fight over and over again.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks, Rykon. So I would just like to remind everyone that we are AusSpeedruns, an organisation doing speedrun events to raise money for various charities. This event, we're raising money for Cure Cancer's Game on Cancer initiative, a charity which funds early career cancer researchers working across all areas of cancer research. If you want to donate, you can donate at donate.ausspeedruns.com. I'd also like to note that all Twitch revenue that AusSpeedruns is receiving in the month of July up until the end of the event is also going to be going towards Game on Cancer. So get those donations in. It's been less than 24 hours we've been live. We've almost $6,000, which is phenomenal. And I think in 2019, that's almost how much we raised over the entire event. So, as I said, absolutely phenomenal generosity by everyone. Thank you everyone who stuck around, especially in these wee hours of the morning.
So for anyone who was wondering what my reaction was there, we have a combat master, and you can see the effects already. We're downed. Luckily we get 2 downs here, but this if he's immune to arrows, we're in real trouble. All right, so he can very easily kill my war chief. He can also very easily kill me. I could go for the brutalize strategy here, but I'm really worried that if I leave my war chief for more than 2 seconds, he's going to die. So essentially what I have to do now is I just have to elf flash here. Get downed again.
You've got a lot to learn about fighting, Tark.
Okay, so this is a random event. Rather than try to execute me, this is a humiliation. It still counts as a death. And then I immediately die because I don't have control during a cutscene. Oh no, they decided to let me live. Don't know why that happened, but I will take it.
Think you have the spine to face me? Then I rip it from your back.
Come on. I'm actually going to go for healing here because I am so worried. Thankfully he's leaving.
And you'll suffer. I promised you that.
But like I mentioned, combat masters
The tide has turned. Retreat and live to fight again.
He's retreating. Okay. But I'm down. Okay, Grublik, why are you laughing? Grublik. That is not normal. Okay. Let me up, game. Thank you. So essentially this is what we have to do against combat masters. It is extremely slow, but this is our only method. And he died. And the war chief, the war chief that was on the map has already despawned, which means now we have to do this again. So welcome to why we don't like Combat Masters 101. But that's okay. It's not the end of the run. It's just, it slows it down by a lot. So let's take a break from War Cheese for a second because we're here anyway and we may as well finish this mission. So, this is Torvin 3 and I really, really, really hope you guys like long, uninterruptible cutscenes because that is essentially what this is. We're going to roll out of the way of this legendary Caragor here, climb this, stand here, and if we're standing in the right position, he'll run straight up. We can press control and take him for ourselves.
However short that is.
I assume you know the path.
The real question is, are you ready to travel it?
Now, we have
Whatever
a minute
happens during the
and
hunt,
13
what
seconds
would
of
Torvin
nothing.
do?
However,
That's a good life lesson
if
for
we
you
get
to
bad
follow
RNG,
always.
we can actually get Orc spawn in the way, and it can actually interrupt this cutscene. Essentially, this is an unskippable cutscene, and it gets
I'm
way
ready to fight
worse.
the Grog.
And that's just what you do.
But thankfully, this is a good time for me just to stand up, have a little stretch, feel better about myself because, hey, it's been 2 hours, roughly, I don't know how long it's been yet, probably about an hour and a half, I'd assume, but I can have a quick stretch. So I'm just going to do that for a few seconds because what else can we do? And you can join me along at home if you want.
Grauds are one of the oldest species of Mordor, and the deadliest by far. It's been a long time since
Thank you everyone in the chat as well for joining me for a quick stretch. Honestly, this is the normal toilet break for most runners. However, there is a chance, thankfully we didn't get it, that orcs can spawn up on this hill. And if they do, Torvin just wants to rip them apart. So we've actually had a runner lose a world record attempt because they went to the toilet and the orcs spawned here. And he came back and Torvin was still fighting them. So he lost 2 minutes there and he lost a world record because of it. That was a while ago, but hey, bloody Lifetime, if you're watching, I still remember.
That creature alone was a death sentence.
And so, yeah, essentially this is the story of Torvin and going through the hunt and how he's talking about his losing his brother and hunting the Great White Grog. All that we really care about is that there is an object of Cerebrumbor's past in this Grog's lair. And Torvin's finally ready to show us, but we have to kill the Grog with him.
Dwarves will tell tales of Torvin
Almost
the
there,
Hunter for
thankfully.
generations. And I'll have them throw your name in there somewhere.
Okay, and there is the end of Torvin. That lovely bit of dialogue. Now, this boss, I got Bright Fury. Bright Fury is without a doubt, I was hoping I wouldn't actually get this drop, but I will show this off, but I'm not going to guarantee that I'm going to even finish the run with this. So just so everyone is aware, this is without a doubt one of the worst strategies we ever have. This boss can be cheesed with this rune. So keep in mind, this is a 10% chance. So I'm just going to start throwing daggers at this boss. Normally you're meant to do a bunch of really interesting things. Instead, I'm just going to throw daggers. Nope. Come on. As I said, we're waiting on a 10% chance proc here. Did I get it? No. And that was the proc, but you've got less than 0.3 of a second to act on it. Got it again, but again, I'm going to give it one more try and then I'm going to do this boss normally because honestly, I really hate this strategy so much. Come on. Come on. Nope, I rolled when I need to pull out my bow then. One more try. Just because I really want to show this off at least once. No. We're going to house. And this is why I don't like this ability. No run on the leaderboard currently has this because Bright Fury is such a rare drop. I just happened to get it during this run. And I was even talking about possibly removing it as a strategy because it does save somewhere about 3 minutes, but it can also just keep losing you. So I'm going to continue this boss as normal. We're not going to show off the Bright Fury strat, but essentially we can skip having to make this boss charge. So let's show the proper way to fight this boss. We run at him, he will punch the ground. Then we're going to run away, turn our camera to face him. He should roar now. Get a roar. There we go. Here's our roar. We can pull out our bow. Thank you. Donkey shot him. He'll run, hit the ground, and we can do this. And essentially, this is what we get with a Bright Fury. We'd get immediately to this part of the fight. And now we're just waiting for a bunch of ghouls to spawn. So these ghouls essentially are like little Scooby snacks for the Great White Grog. If he eats any of them, he restores a bit of his HP. So our job is to kill them. If he does manage to pick one up, we can normally snipe it out of his hand, but I got hit by a ghoul spit. And you can see here the entire time I've actually been throwing daggers at the Great White Grog, and I still haven't got an actual proc of Bright Fury. Again, why I really dislike the Bright Fury strat. But hey, it's a strat, and if it goes fast, then we have to do it. So we're waiting for the Grog here. He'll stomp, and then we can do our usual run away. Come on, here's the roar. Pull out our bow. Tap him in the head. And again. And I'll keep throwing daggers at him during the intermission phases, so that's essentially the ghoul phases, and we'll see if we even get another Bright Fury proc here. You can see here, I'm still not getting Bright Fury procs.
What's the proc rate?
10%.
Oh, really?
Apparently.
Sure it is.
I've had as far as 35 throws before I've got a single proc, and I've had as little as 3 throws directly, one after another after another. No, put that down. Bad doggy. Bad. We do not eat ghouls. They're bad for us. It's like feeding a dog chocolate. Again, I've been throwing daggers this whole time at him. Nothing. Okay, so we're just going to...
10% proc rate.
10% proc rate. We're going to run away from him again. That should get him to roar at us. You're going to roar. There we go. There's the roar. And thankfully, we're done with this boss fight now. So that is by far the worst boss fight. And again, at least I get to show off Bright Fury. I didn't actually get to proc it because it's insanely hard. And to make matters worse, Torvin missions are really bad. Now we have, for some reason, the longest load in the game. We don't know why this happens. It's different on each person's computer, but it's not different per account because we've actually tried swapping accounts and seeing what that would happen. We don't know what it's tied to. It's not tied to CPU. It's not tied to RAM. It's just a random load time. This is actually the inspiration for me putting a load remover in this game. So I don't know how long this is going to be. It goes somewhere from 5 seconds to 45 seconds. And we don't know why.
Weird.
There we go. All right.
I hope that
And thankfully, that's the last we're going to see of Torvin.
Torvin finds his way home now that his hunt is over.
If he does, then he will find his home is not as he left it.
Okay. So we've got 3 of 5 war chiefs. So again, we're going to go into a riot. We need 5 of 5 to actually finish the game. And there is another mission we need to do. Character we haven't actually really seen much of because she's only really in cutscenes, but Lothariel needs rescuing, and so we're going to have to rescue her after all these.
Off with you!
And like before, we're going to open up here by brutalizing one of these orcs. That will get rid of all the grunts, which is especially important because most of these grunts are spear throwers.
You maggot!
Oh, I don't have the brutalize rune on because we switched for Bright
Get
Fury.
it over with right quick!
So I'm just going to fix that right now as I get stabbed. That's great. That's going to be painful to come back to. Apparently Bright Fury unequips when you die. I did not know that. There we go, new bit of fact for me. But that's okay.
Stay there!
Thankfully not a combat master. We've already determined that. We would be very, very unlucky to get 2 combat masters in one.
Shoulder from now on.
Okay.
It's gonna haunt you like a shadow.
Nah, you're going to come with me, buddy. And we say, hey, let's start a riot against that final guy.
Ranger!
Right.
You look for me?
Do we take the
Saves
risk?
me trouble.
There's a lot of orcs on the board. I'm going to try to get my...
Walker! Man not escape this time.
I don't want to talk to you guys. Look, I'm sure you're lovely, but I'm in a relationship with these other war chiefs. I'm not in the mood for any more followers. All right, we're going to try this once. No, we're going to get interrupted too much. Alright, we're going to have to take the risk and just leave our captain on the field. Our war chief on the field. And we just really have to hope that he doesn't die before we get out of spawn range. It does happen. It has happened multiple times, but we don't really have an option here. Okay. Is there anyone I can jump to around here?
My retreat was just strategy before. This time I'll end you.
Sure, buddy. Absolutely.
I love to chat the orcs, don't they?
They absolutely love to chat. And the problem is, captains are as fast as me. As you can see on the map, this guy is still chasing me, which means I can't actually fast travel to despawn my war chief. So my war chief is going to be on the map this entire time. The only thing I can do to get rid of this captain, outside of fighting him, is climb this Hadia, because captains can't climb these. It's the one object in the game that they don't know how to climb. And there we go. So I'm actually just going to fast travel. No? Really go. Oh, that gave me a heart attack. I actually thought that was my war chief that was dying then for a second, because it panned over like that. But that's okay. We're off the field. Our war chief is safe. We've got one more right to do, and then one more mission before we're into the end game, essentially. Now, the riots themselves, they only have sort of 5 or 6 spawn locations that they can actually spawn. So as soon as I knew where this one roughly was, I knew it was exactly up on this tower. So if you're ever wondering how I'm able to travel and know exactly where I'm going, sort of based on random missions at random locations, they only have 6 points of spawn. And thankfully, this should be our last one. The Combat Master died, so this is the Orc that took his place. So we're hoping that he is not a Combat Master, but again, RNG giveth and RNG taketh away. There we go, got rid of most of the Orcs with our Brutalize.
You have noble blood, my thing. Noble blood is much the sweeter.
Creepy. Absolutely creepy. Some of these... Oh, that's not great. Some of these orcs are absolutely creepy, but... Not too bad yet. And he's not a combat master. Oh,
thank you, RNGesus.
Thank you, RNGesus, or Yorksaron, or whichever RNG god you pray to. And there is our last war chief.
Achievement unlocked, just for good measure.
Yep, good achievement. Mordor Master done. Alright, and again, I'm going to... It's not a very far run from here. I'm going to leave my war chief on the board.
I'll be back another time,
just to take the risk, because we can actually die. We can actually die when we try to get our war chief away. And on top of that, if we die, our war chief time actually advances in the game, because dying is a proper mechanic in this game. They expect you to die a lot. And time can actually advance, and one of our war chiefs can die due to a random fight that they took off screen from us. So we really don't want to die, because that's absolutely terrible during this part of the run. Thankfully, we got to this mission. That'll despawn the war chiefs. They're safe for now. And now we are going to go save Lothariel. She's being tortured for information about our whereabouts. So, of course, we're just going to run in and meet her. But we haven't seen anything of her, except for because the cutscenes in this skip. She's, without a doubt, my favourite character in this. For the Shadow of War developers, I'm going to have a go at you here. This is how you make your female protagonists. Lothariel is great. The female protagonist in Shadow of War, absolutely terrible. But this one, really, really great. This is the good example of a really good independent person, and I love it. Anyway, moving on from that, we need to brand 6 orcs here, and that path is always set, and then we can immediately spawn into the mission here. Here's Lothariel. We're going to save her. Okay, I'm going to blow up this, jump down, brand this orc. Hopefully one more will survive the fire, is the hope. Again, it's RNG if they survive the fire based on random values they have on their health pool. Okay, you need to be stunned because I need this guy. Okay. Of course that happened. When you hold a direction in this game to brand, the game thinks it knows what you want, but it doesn't really know. So here, I branded those orcs for a very specific reason. I'm going to try this crazy trick we have. Essentially, how this fight is meant to go, we're escorting Lothariel through the zone. Her leg is broken, so she can't run. You're essentially meant to have one wave, stop and fight. Second wave, stop and fight. Third wave, stop and fight. That's how this fight is meant to go. You can see the first wave is now spawned. I'm going to take a very specific path here, and if I do it right, you should start seeing, yep, the orcs are starting to drop aggro on me. They're not meant to, but now they've dropped aggro. Now that's part one. Part two, we hope none of them decide to randomly attack us as we're walking past here. And if we do it right, all these orcs are coming for us. Oh, oh. Maybe. Yes, we got wave 2 spawned. That is perfect. That is exactly what we wanted. So we've now really confused the game logic because we spawned 2 waves at once. The game doesn't know what to do here. And it's going to start running these orcs over. And we're going to drop the nest. And of course, dropping the nest is an orc, which we can then stealth. And we can then brutalize. Stealth brutalizing, obviously the rest of the orcs with our upgrade of our DLC room, the rest of the orcs, except for one guy apparently.
The Tower of Sauron interrogated me on your whereabouts.
Are you going to fight me? Yep. And you can hear the game is really confused because it's actually got lines playing over each other because the game really didn't expect us to be able to get through both waves at once. And that saves us about 35 seconds. Because we're able to use that nest to get rid of both waves at once. So it's really cool time save. It's really hard to pull off. I made it look easy, but it requires a lot of very precise walking and a very precise hit on that nest, because the timing wise. Here, thankfully, we've got another nest. Lothariel will stop being a roadblock. And you guessed it, we're immediately going to brutalize that orc, and that should get rid of everyone. So again, we get to demonstrate the power of brutalize. You can see all the orcs fleeing, and essentially no one's going to interrupt us, and we're going to carry Lothariel. And now we get to be in the end game, which means we've only got 2 missions left of this run. It's going to make me sad. I'm really enjoying this. So thankfully, these 2 missions are really cool. We get to fight our nemesis, which might be that orc that we ran into 3 times, which is really unusual. We're hoping. Okay, and the mission spawned, which means none of our war chiefs died randomly. I have had that happen on a world record pace run before, where for some reason time advanced because I pressed the wrong button during that fast travel. Because there's 2 options in fast travel. You can fast travel or you can advance time, and I pressed the wrong button and my war chief died during that fast travel.
We wish to thank you.
There's Lothariel in all her glory with her mother uncorrupted. Not that we've seen her mother in a corrupted form because we skipped all the cutscenes. And who is our nemesis? Hey, look who it is. No, it's not him. His name was the Collector. I remembered his last name was the Collector. So this is, the game thinks this is our biggest nemesis in the game. Essentially, because we're speedrunning, we never had any a lot of interactions with orcs. So the game kind of just has to assign a nemesis and hope for the best. Also, fun fact, if you kill every single orc on both maps, it takes a very long time. You can actually get Ratbag to spawn here as your nemesis, even though he's meant to be dead in the cutscene. It's a cool little thing the developers put in, but you need to either own or kill every single orc on the map. It is insanely hard to do, especially with respawns. Yeah. But it can be done, and it's really funny.
This resurrection trick from your elf friends, did you?
Oh, spacebar. No. It's one thing this game does have is very quick react times. Like, you have to be very quick when an orc decides to attack you. Oh, I got randomly hit by an orc from nowhere. Oh, let's get rid of this guy. We're just going to use our bow, actually. This guy... Normally, these orcs are immune to... I was so sure this guy was going to be immune to arrows that I didn't even bother checking, but he wasn't, so... Cool. Fantastic. That's our nemesis dead. Now, coming up is the sort of final big boss fight in terms of the big crazy bosses. Casually, this boss is absolutely insane. It is such a fun, fantastic fight. So lore-driven, so story-driven. We're speedrunners. We're just gonna basically break this entire fight. We have to go and fight the tower 3 times. If I taunt exactly here, what's going to happen is this first tower I'm going to be able to kill. The second tower here, you can see him moving down below. He's trying to figure out where that taunt came from. He's going to be in the perfect spot for us to just drop down on his head. We're then immediately going to roll to the left here, and the third tower will spawn just around this corner. There he is there, and we're going to say, hey, look at that, over there. That's totally us. And he's going to be like, oh, I'll just go investigate there. And boss fight done.
That was easy.
Yeah, we have essentially one more step, but that's essentially the boss fight done. So casually, that took me like 10 minutes, I would say, because the tower roams around. If he sees any of his clones see you at all, he absolutely just straight up murders you. It's this crazy intense fight. But we all know the saying, press F to pay respects. In this case, we're just going to press E to remember our family. And that's the boss fight done. So press E to remember family, and boss fight is essentially done. And also I want to keep in mind here, if you're ever wondering how strong Talion and Celebrimbor, the Wraith combined, this is a full-size sword that he pulls out of his back. And watch how far it goes into the ground. So essentially, the tower told us in the cutscene that, oh, hey, that is such a hard trick to do. That is frame perfect, and it loses time.
Oh.
I essentially pulled up a menu when I shouldn't be able to pull up a menu. So it loses time because of pulling up the menu, and it also makes this load a bit longer. Frame perfect, time loss.
Swag is time neutral.
Yeah. So we're on to our final mission, so we're going to be finishing up the run soon. But we've got one more set of big boss fights, and we've got hopefully one more glitch that we can do, but this glitch, it requires a ton of skill, which I don't really have, a ton of luck, because we need bosses to be in a very specific position, and a ton of RNG, because we need orcs not to touch us while we're performing this glitch. But if we get it, we can skip this entire massive, big build-up boss fight. What's going to happen here is the 5 Talons are going to spawn. They are like the Sauron's elitist orcs in the world. They are the strongest, biggest, toughest orcs. We are not meant to be able to brand them. By normal game mechanics, we are not meant to be able to own these orcs. However, I can set it up to have a very specific amount of health, and then if the orcs leave me alone while I brand the first tower, he acts as the war chief, and all the other ones act as his bodyguard. So, if I can set it up correctly, I've only ever got this once in a run, and I've never got it. I've only got it 3 times in practice. But if we set it up correctly, we will skip this entire fight. So 1, 2, 3. Activate our orcs. 4, 5. Drain our Caragor. Don't interrupt me. Don't interrupt me. Don't interrupt me. Thank you. Kill our Caragor, because these are Beastmasters, so if they touch the Caragor, they will fully heal. Pull out our bow. Teleport to this guy. Nope. That's really bad. Teleport to this guy. Ground execute. Roll over him. Teleport to him. Ground execute. Roll over him. That's okay.
They say you gave
Setup's still okay.
Her freedom. The freedom to
Now we
die
pray.
with her people.
Because I need to... He's below a certain threshold that he should never get to, essentially, when I do this ground execute.
You soft pride yourself on mercy.
So I wasn't able to get out of his range before he took a knee, and now he's just going to die. I cannot brand him here. The game does not allow you to brand him. Essentially, that saves around 2 minutes, but there's so many RNG factors involved in that it's just insane. Alright, so we have to do the Talon fight straight up. Never fun, but hey, we'll do it. Oh, that's... I thought I was fighting this Talon, I ended up fighting that Talon. We never punched that Talon directly in the face because he is a Berserker. Berserkers like to parry us when we try to punch them in the face. Now here, each Talon does have an opening line. We can't really keep avoiding it. Also, fun fact, one of these Talons is promoted to the War Chief, and if we were to somehow pull the same trick off and brand that Talon, we would also skip the rest of the Talons. But we don't know which one is promoted because they all have the War Chief icon on them because they're all special bosses. Okay. So he's down.
Ease your pain to kill me.
That's our 4th Talon. That's 4th Talon. Yeah, 4th Talon down. I did notice there was another Talon below the threshold, so if I touch him once, he will instantly fall over. He healed back up, or he died. One of the two. He died, because I've only got 2 Talons left.
Nice.
Man lead traitors. Traitors weak. Uruk strong.
Now this guy is actually the worst of them, because he has Vault Breaker, so we can't jump over him, and he has a shield, so I can't outright stun him. So I'm actually just going to fight his predecessor, his other Hawk. Come on. Come over here, guys. I want you away. I'm going to drain this guy for some arrows quickly. Thank you. Because, thankfully, the one weakness of this Orc is that he is not immune to arrows. Unfortunately, it involves me actually shooting, which I am terrible at, but hey, we'll... Okay. Next Talon down. Nice and easy. He's the worst one, so thankfully we got him down, so that makes me feel really, really good. And we got one more Talon, and then we're going to be at the end of the game. Unfortunately. I've been really enjoying this run. Thank you again.
I've been enjoying this run too.
Thank you for coming along. It's been such fantastic. But we're not just there yet. We've still got to have a fight, an epic fight with Talon, with Sauron, not Talon, not Talon.
I'll execute every soddy last one
After
of them.
this, but this game was built during the height of the QuickTime events. If you haven't already guessed by the amount of QuickTime events in this game, this was absolutely during the height of the QuickTime events are the best things in the world. So the entire fight with Sauron at the end is a QuickTime event. Oh, very slow animation here. Unfortunately, we don't pick what animation happens. The game picks it for us. Alright, all the Talons are dead. We can now go up and finally get our revenge on the Black Hand, who was the person, one of the 3. We've already killed 2 of the other bosses, and the other boss who helped kill our wife. However, the Black Hand kills himself in a cutscene, and he does that to summon Sauron. So, we basically don't get to take our revenge like we think we're going to. Come up here, and we've got 5 QuickTime events, and then we're going to have time. So get ready on time there.
Flame falling on the Black Gate. The hammer and the tower are dead.
Climb, 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 climb. This is the fastest way to climb this. It is very, very awkward structure to climb. I don't know why they put it right at the end, especially the way it is. But here's our QuickTime events. So spacebar. Spacebar, and what QuickTime event wouldn't be good without a couple of RNG QuickTimes? We don't know what these ones are, they're different every time. And here we go. Right click. Spacebar, and get ready on time. It's coming right up in a second as soon as this QuickTime event finishes. And time. Okay, that's pretty much it for us. We're done here. That was absolutely fantastic. Thank you to ASM for having us. It's been an absolute pleasure to come all the way over to Adelaide and do the running. I'd like to do a very quick shout out to my wife and my son. Thank you for the good luck charm to my son. Your Chicky Rita was definitely my inspiration and good luck charm. Also, thank you to the Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War speedrunning community, Zoj, Bloody Lifetime, Tinitus, and Kaiser. You guys are awesome, keeping me running this game. But that's it. We are done. That is Shadow of Mordor.
So just to quickly interject, thank you for that run. It was obviously fantastic. I do just have a $320 donation that's just come in from Martin. Greetings from Austria to Australia. Put this towards challenge Shadow of War demo %, which means that has been met.
Thanks, Martin.
Oh,
awesome.
Thank you. That is, wow. That is incredible.
What a legend.
Okay. So with that, I guess we'll get right into... Would you like to do an intermission?
We'll just duck to an intermission and then we'll get back on.